Hi, everyone. I think we should start now, shall we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, let me get back to normal. Hi, it's nighttime here now in Melbourne. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which some of us and I are currently at right now and during this Zoom meeting. I pay with my respects to the elder past and present and the Aboriginal elder of other community who may be here today. And this would always be the land and always and forever. Let me first introduce you guys to our host today from all the way from Hong Kong in Paris, but at her own place right now, Anchi Lee.
Thank you, Scotty. Hi everyone. I'm Anchi. I'm the Curator of Education and Public Programs at Parasite Hong Kong. So now we're back in home office because of the fourth wave of COVID in Hong Kong. So here I am at my own place on my couch. But also tonight, besides me, we have another co-moderator for today's Scotty So's student visit. This is by Joseph Chen. Is our new colleague and also our assistant curator and project manager. So hi, Joseph.
Hi, hello everyone. Hi. Let me introduce a bit about Scotty. Scotty So is a Melbourne-based artist who works across media using painting, photography, sculptures, site-responsive installation, videos, and drag performance. Driven by the thread of camp, he explores the often contradictory relationship between humor and sincerity within lived experience. Born and raised in Hong Kong, So graduated BFA Honours at the Victorian College of the Arts with first-class honours in Melbourne, Australia 2019. So's work has been displayed in Hong Kong, Greater China, and Australia, including the Triennial 2020 by the National Gallery of Victoria. So Scotty has prepared a performance video for us. So we can just watch the video first, then we go back to chatting and the studio visit. And the piece is called Art Must Be Beautiful. Artists Must Be Beautiful. Enjoy it.
Must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artists must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artists must be beautiful. Artists must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artists must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Oh, artist, beautiful artist. Beautiful. Artists must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. This must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. This must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. This must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Oh, beautiful artist must be. Beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Oh, beautiful artist must be. Beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. This must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful. Art must be beautiful. Artist must be beautiful.
Yeah, the performance was really, really lovely. I'm just wondering, Scotty, how did you come up with the idea of doing this performance?
I saw this performance when I was doing my bachelor in Hong Kong, and it was a time when I started to do performance, and she was, one of the reference artists, of course, the Mariana Abuvic. And I remember seeing Ming Won, the Singaporean artist, talking about that performance at one of his artist panel in the Hong Kong Art Basel. Which he was talking about how in that video the truth is the beauty is not just the beauty, but the truth, the one truth, which she was brushing her hair, and it's the struggle, and it's the hair, the loosen of the hair. But I was just thinking that if you do brush it quite gently and in a correct way, it eventually would actually go aesthetically beautiful. And to me, I think that's one of the truth, one of the many truths to how you approach beauty. And that's why I came up with the idea of actually brushing it gently. And in the isolation, I started having my hair growing long because we couldn't go to the salon for like 3 months to 6 months. So it is really long now. And so when I was brushing my hair in front of the mirror, I thought about that motion of the brushing. But then my hair just naturally waved in an angle. So it became just pretty like a 60s housewife hairstyle. So I thought, I'm just gonna try to re-perform that performance, but instead of pulling my hair, I gently massage it. And then, because I also have a drag performance practice too, so I thought if I started how to learn how to heat set my hair using heat roller in the isolation too. And I've been using my real hair to do drag instead of using a wig. So that's why the second part of the video was me having the after hot set, and I had just all the beautiful curl and just brushing it out, because that's part of the process of the vintage hairdo. You have all those curls and then you brush it out and almost like taming them into the wave that you want. And it was like that one was like a Marilyn Monroe 60s-ish hairstyle when she started having like just more like a sleek version of hair. And then at the end, after brushing it out, I had makeup on and just try to do the spraying and set the hair, and also brushing it out. And I guess that's also part of the drag performance where you lip sync. As a drag performance, often that you perform with lip syncing, and the lip sync is always about mimicking the tone, mimicking the voices and the emotions, and making it believable. And so I thought, instead of a song, lip syncing to a performance artist sound could be something that giving it a different narrative to the word art must be beautiful, artist must be beautiful. And in that sense, she's actually beautiful. So that's kind of the background story of the work.
I also want to share some personal experience, because my natural hair is actually kind of curly, although I like recently straightened it out, just make it easier to handle every day. But I also like totally resonate with the experience, like during this like combing routine, you actually can achieve like a specific moment. You feel like, oh, this is actually perfect, all right, and then you will stay there. But it's very interesting in your work is there's always the moment like you make the perfect style messy, or just kind of destroy it, like constantly destroying it, constantly taming it. And
because
yeah,
because that's the part of the using the real hair, styling a wig, that you reach to this moment that you think is the perfect form, but then you thought, oh, there's a little bit not as perfect, and you just try to tame it, but it just gone at the end.
I know. Especially like in the third phase, like when you also added the hairspray into the whole performance, like adding another layer of resistance, just kind of helping you make the style firm, kind of make it solid decision. But then you're also kind of, okay, I'm rebuilding it again. I'm kind of deconstructing it again. So it's a very interesting way of, seeing the the kind of the struggles or resistance between all these actions. But since you mentioned emotions, I actually want to ask you, so what were you thinking or what were you feeling during making this performance?
When I was doing it, I had her sound on and the whole video on one side of my computer, and on the other side of the computer, I can see the image coming through from the camera. So I was having myself and her there, but I was constantly looking at myself only. It's just easier to look at. But it was that I was looking at myself and hearing her sounding really struggling, but in that struggle, at some point it sounded like she was having an orgasm, or she was having like a moment of pleasure. And so I couldn't help but just change my thought from that sort of struggle into something that really pleasurable. And when I do that and matching with her breathing, I felt joy and I wanted to just smile and keep on. It's just really funny doing that. So that's how I think it's just the part that what drag can provide, that is calm. And I think that's very important in this work, with that emotion of joy.
Yeah, shall we go to the studio visit part? Because Scotty has recorded a studio visit, so we can watch a pre-recorded video and then go on to check a bit.
Oh, hey, be careful, there's COVID in this building. What? Actually?
Oh, hi. Hi, everyone from the future. This is Scarlett, and I'm here to show you my friend Scotty So studio. So as you can see, this is his space. Well, it's actually mine too. But it's a little tiny, but welcome. What can I show you first? So here we have a photograph of me that he took that is now collected by the NGV, the National Gallery of the Victoria. This is just a test print that they given to me just to see what sort of paper would be suitable for the exhibition print. And here you can see the other 5 photographs together as a collection of photos that they have collected. Here we have a fountain, which is a functional fountain, unlike the other one that some guys named Duchamp did. This actually has water and it runs in a circle. It gives really beautiful sound, and in summer right now it actually helps a lot with the temperature. There's no aircon in this studio, so this helps me a lot. And of course, this is also a Triennial that was purchased by Scotty So, and he turned it into a fountain. I can show you this. So this is a hologram device that he has put he put me onto this hologram device, and so I dance there doing a black dance and stripping myself down in a loop, and continue on and on and on like a genie in a bottle, just to entertain you forever. Here is the ceramic section. He hasn't done anything new so far, but It has been a busy year. Here you can see some bisque firing that he just did. This is a respirator mask. This is a N95 mask. And this is a vase. What by vase I mean also butt plugs. Here is a glazed and fired ceramic porcelain respiration mask. He'll then later on put on this filter bit, and so it will become a complete work. Here is some dresses he made using this machine here and some tools. He also made this dress for me. It's not very well done because this is one of the first that he made, but as he continued making churns on, his skill improves. This is a pattern of gum tree, gum blossom, a native plant to the Australian. Here's a painting that Properties is a real estate agent that sells housings in Australia. You will see this ad everywhere, but instead of spelling property, he spelled prosperity, which means prosperity. He thinks that it's very funny to change that name and turn it into something as a blessing using the what's that word? Capitalism. Yes, that's a word that we love. Everyone from Hong Kong. Hi. We love capitalism. Here is a face mounting print of many bus stations that was rendered using a 3D software. There's an artist one space just downstairs called Bus Project. So this is where he got his inspiration. Bus Project. And here, spin. This is a symbol of loading. So as you walk, it would continue loading and waiting. So again, another loop and infinite work that he does. He also often finds the infinity and looping has a feeling of longing of the immortality. That's why he always makes pictures or aesthetic that is from the past and presenting in our modern world. Therefore, he thinks that that's the way to become immortal, existing in different timeline. And sometimes he posts pictures of that on Wikipedia, and people would think that that is actually some photograph that was taken back in the day. Here is a drawer. Hairspray and other stuff. So here is a more test print that he's going to hand colored and turn it into historical looking images. And he hopes to put it on Wikipedia. And people may believe that they are real. What if they do? Am I right? Here is where he stores his tools. Here is a shelf of items of ceramic stuffs. These are the test objects of the vase/butt plugs. Here's some test with overglaze. Here are some testing of celadon. And here's some testing of Qinghua glaze. To see how it works as a bubbler, well, as a vase, you can see it right here. Let me take it close to you. So this is a vase of plum blossom. No, I'm not gonna drink that. Let's put it back here. He has been working on some brush stuffs just because he feels interested doing that now. He's an artist who likes to jump around and not to be bound by the different medium, and now he really enjoys doing some brush every day once in a while. Here's the Hong Kong orchid tree. These are some bottle bush, also from Australia. Bottle bush. He may do some bigger works like this one, but he's scared of painting in such a big scale now because he's not actually that good at all with the brush work. So you want to practice more first, and he really just want to paint a giant penis like this onto this canvas. Oh, not canvas, scroll. Because he thinks it'd be funny. It'd be so funny to have just a big penis there. He enjoys it. Here is his better lighting. Here's his honors paper from last year when he was studying at the VCA. You can read this also on his website www.scottyso.com at the page of test stuffs. This is a replica of a Song Dynasty Yuware. Of course, this is not real. This is just a replica. But he was playing Ikebana when he was in lockdown and testing with native plants also. So this is the eucalyptic, wax flower, and some other flower, and they're all dying because they're thirsty. What else can I show you? He's also a collection of books that he has. Some more brush ink books because he's learning. He really likes to learn different things and do a lot of DIY because he's just always curious. And so he did the butt plugs. He learned how to do ceramic in He learned how to do ceramic in the isolation, and so he started to do ceramic now. But let's see how it goes. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything I can show you in this studio. I can show you more dresses here, but most of the collection is at my place. I may be able to show you later, but this is one of the oops, that he made. Whoops. But yeah. He also does a lot of ready-made found objects. Here is another bathroom items that he made. This is all dead narcissus. He hasn't figured out what to do with it yet because he saw the sink for $10 only, so he just wanted to have it. And now he has it and hasn't had a chance to really play with it, and it's the end of the year, so he just wanted to have some rest and come back to it next year. Then it may be a new fun thing to do. But I can also show you this. Here's another one of these 3D illusion thing. So this is turning on with the light. Very interesting, huh? Well, I think this is pretty much it. Okay, so she thought that she has finished telling everything about works, but here's one work that she forgot to mention. Oh, together with this. This is also my drinking bottle. That's my water bottle, that's my vodka bottle. So these are both made with the actual absolute vodka bottles. And this one says absolute power, and this one says absolute power. So it's also say absolute power corrupts absolutely. But this one here is that绝对权利绝对互化 I'm sorry, my Mandarin is pretty bad, so that is the translation, the Chinese translation of the absolute power corrupts absolutely. So yeah, he saw this sign, protest signs in different protest occasion, and thought that it would be a funny touch on mixing the capitalist vodka from Russia into this sort of political statement pieces, using the flags of different nation, different powerful nation. If you understand it, you'd understand it, but if you don't, you would not. But that's the fun thing about making ambiguous political work. I think that without giving the answer is always the answer to everything. I miss you, Hong Kong. Please take care. With all my heart, I love you. If you ever come to Australia, please let me know. I may see you or not, but hopefully I will. Yeah, just please take care and enjoy the rest of the talk. And I'll see you soon when I'm back to Hong Kong too.
Thank you so much, Scarlett. Oh, I'm sure everybody has a lot of questions. I have a lot already. So I think, well, before I'll ask the first question, and everybody in this student visit, feel free to just, jump in, talk to Scotty directly. I will allow everybody to unmute yourself right now. Okay. So, Scotty, can you tell us more about Scarlett maybe first?
So Scarlett is a drag persona that I started to have maybe three years ago when I was in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
At first it was just a play on, because it was really, RuPaul's Drag Race was such a big hit back in the day. And then I just wanted to try how it's like to do drag. But I always had this idea that I want to wear cheongsam, the 旗袍 or cheongsam. And the first time when I did drag, I wore a beautiful black velvet cheongsam down to my knees and really sexy with long hair. And I felt really hard. So I continued just doing that, but I started developing it just all through history, but in the past, mostly from the 40s to the 60s, because I was very inspired by my grandmother's stories of her, all those very similar stories to everyone's grandmother, how they escaped the Second World War or the Chinese Revolution, Cultural Revolution, and go down to Hong Kong or overseas, and they used to be like really pretty back in their days. And so my grandmother has that story, and I looked at her old pictures, and it's just all this beautiful cheongsam, and it's not just the sort of in the mood for love, Maggie Chan up to 60s, but because I think in the mood for love is very easy on the eye. Like everyone think about Hong Kong aesthetic, they think of In the Mood for Love, but the aesthetic goes back to when the British started colonizing. There was the bubonic plague when it was still the Qing Dynasty, 1895, and there would be like just beautiful dresses. And so Scarlett Johansson, Sohang is my Chinese name. Scarlett Johansson is a drag persona then that I started to now really develop as a persona that I really want to be as her some time of my life. And when I'm her, I feel like I represent that sort of aesthetic beauty that I wanted to be, and I wanted when I grew up, I wanted to do the girls friend of mine with that kind of hair, and they would always say no. But now I have a chance to do it on myself, and so I became her.
Well, I have a lot of other questions, but Joseph, do you have anything? Go first.
Yeah, I'm also interested in you got a work that you parody on Carrie Lam, that work that that was really funny. Can I know more about the context of that work?
That one it wasn't the first time I did Carrie Lam. When she just had won the election maybe 1 or 2 years after, when she wasn't that hated, I dressed up as her and performed as her at a gay club with the rainbow flag and just with Lana Del Rey songs at the back. It was a beautiful night. And then what happened last year in Hong Kong happened, and I wanted to do something also to be part of it. I know I wasn't part of it because I was in Australia, but my heart there were pieces of me when I saw the news that just left me. And I wished so badly that I was there. And so I thought that I need to do something, and what's the best way to take away someone's authority is by giving them emotions, especially I think with female politicians somehow, especially in Asia, that they often has to hide their emotion because it would be considered as weak. And Carrie Lam has cried once during the interview with TVB, but people were saying that she wasn't genuine. So I thought, what if I show all the different emotion as her during a press conference? And I did the crying, I did laughing, I did happiness, joy, sadness, and anger. And I found that the the sorrow really works in that work. So I put that picture of me as her crying at the press conference on Wikipedia. And some newspaper from Italy thought it was actually her, and they used that picture, and it became on their newspaper on the internet. So that's how it ended. It continued. I think it continues just getting mistaken, but.
Yes, so like your performance of so many people, also including Scarlett, makes me think like I see a lot of different times in your work, in your practice. Like Carrie Lam, she's very at the moment. And also like sometimes in your work, I see maybe Scarlett dressed up in a lady like who is from way back, maybe in Qing Dynasty, but also like in your hologram work, it's really about the future kind of. So I'm curious about this diverse range of what's the word, like time in your practice. So what was your approach, and what were you trying to share with your audience?
Well, with the instant instant approach to that is the desire of immortality, that I really want to be immortal. I really want to be young forever, not to be young and old and then live forever. I want to be young forever. And so by putting myself in different timeline, that allows me to be in this age, but through different timeline. And I could see that I then live through the different time, and by putting myself on Wikipedia and then being used by other scholars, so a lot of different picture actually got used by different scholars when they wrote articles and the use of pictures. And by having those people that making them even more real, then did I really existed, and was I actually a time traveler? You wouldn't know. But that's one of the approach to that. But also with drag, I found that often is about the making real, the passing, the realness, and that realness come from the appropriation, the taking something, turning it to yours, and then making it convincing. And so that sort of me as a cis male person, appropriating woman images and appropriating different story from Li Shanlan to my grandmother to Carrie Lam or Maggie Chen in the Mood for Love. All these different women in pop culture throughout history, I used them and then constructed this identity. And it's pretty much the same with all other work of mine that isn't about identity or drag or performance, but about the construction of the world, about the appropriation of how to construct something that makes believable, just like the vases, appropriating the shape of the butt plugs, and turning it into something and giving a different narrative.
Very interesting. Well, I want to open questions for audience in case we're just asking too many. So dear audience, would you like to jump into our conversation? Anything you want to ask Scotty or share with all of us? Feel free just to unmute yourself. Or if you're shy, you can just type in the chat box, and Joseph and I will read all your questions.
You can also ask in Cantonese, and I can help you translate it into English. Because I miss speaking Cantonese too.
Okay, maybe people are shy. We'll give people more time. So, well, back to our conversation about our work. So yeah, in the very beginning, actually you showed us Scarlett in drag and also with the mask on. Is this a new work you made in 2020?
Yeah, those were made when I was in lockdown, the first lockdown, and I made the Transam, the blue one, as there were some online shows that asked me to be part of it, so I wore that, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna do some photographs too. And also because when the pandemic started, I started wearing mask here in March, but people weren't really taking it serious. When you're from Hong Kong, has been through the 2003 SARS, it's really like a deja vu, and and you're really scared of it. But here, people didn't really take it serious at first. I got many friends telling me that's just a flu, and now we all know it's not. And so I got people coughing right in front of me on purpose when I was having the mask on. And a lot of my friends even said, oh, it's only the Asian who thinks this is such a big thing and would wear the mask. And I had been to debate on that so many times. So I did that work at the end, calling it wearing a mask is just an Asian myth. And just also relating to all different pandemic that have been in Hong Kong, the bubonic plague, Spanish flu, and the Hong Kong flu in the 60s. And so I try to change the narrative of that, the mask, because the first mask for different pandemic was actually invented by an Asian person in the Spanish flu. So I wanted to change that narrative and making something that almost believable, that it could be a real thing, but then it's also a myth. So that's how that collection of work ended.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll ask follow-up questions. Yes, so because I was also trying to, because I was in Hong Kong and I'm in Hong Kong throughout the whole pandemic. So it's actually, I've heard a lot of friends who are overseas experiencing a lot of like struggles, prejudice, or also a lot of sometimes even threats in this year. So I want to ask you, like, you're actually being really brave, because no matter in your work or you know, in all kinds of practice, there is some of the very vulnerable side you actually put in front of your audience or in front of the public. So what's your experience with this, and how, or say like what's kind of the feedback you received when you are this artist in Australia? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think when I put the vulnerable side to the audience, I kind of had the feeling that, well, there's nothing gonna lose. I have nothing to lose. That, of course, there are things to lose, and I could get hurt from that. But already thinking that if I want to stay true to my art, I need to do that. I'm not saying that everyone should do the same, but I think I have the capacity to take that. If this is what I need to show, then I need to show it 100%.
Yeah.
And so that's the way I approach to the vulnerability. But yeah, it's really hard being overseas, having no family and no support from the government of Australia. First lockdown was pretty okay, because I thought, oh, SARS, I've been through SARS, it should just be, take your time, do something new, do something that you was going to do. The second lockdown was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that.
Yeah. So Scotty, so do you plan to spend more time in Australia if, international travels becomes possible, or do you see yourself in Asia or in Hong Kong more in the near future?
I think I'm gonna be in Australia more first, because I have started to have nurture my connections here, that I really want to just focus more here first. But next year I'm planning to come back and hopefully to gain some reconnections, and see if I can make some projects in Hong Kong. But I think right now it just be Melbourne and Hong Kong for now, because I do miss all the food, and it's always the food.
Yes, yes. Okay, let me ask our audience again if we have any upcoming questions for Scotty.
You can also write it down at the chat if you're shy.
Or anything from Joseph?
I'm just wondering that many of your drag image seems to have the inspiration from the pop culture. I'm just curious about it. How do you start to do drag in Hanfu? I think it was really interesting, because it's like a new trend in China that how you incorporate it in your art practice.
So I have done a few art performances in the Hanfu as like a Tang Dynasty woman, and I also did a performance for a museum show last year as Chang'e, like 嫦娥奔月. And with the drag performance at clubs, I made connection of that with some pop songs and some mid-century songs. I did a cover of Madame Butterfly, but then sang by Grace Chan, the Taiwanese singer. But mixing these sort of like using the Western narrative that appropriated Asian culture, like Madonna, when she did all the kimono and all that, and then I used the hanfu, making me as real as like a Tang Dynasty lady, and then appropriate that back. And sort of, I like in these drag performance at the clubs, I like changing this narrative and just making it really odd for the audience, but it all makes sense somehow. With the Chang'e, the moon goddess piece that I did for the Importer Museum of Art, that one, because the theme of the exhibition is about performing textile, and you know how the hanfu is always having really long sleeve and using all the long fabric, and as a way to show how wealthy they are. So I made this really long garment and stiffen it into shaping all the drapery, but also as a way that hanfu is a really strange item, because how it's only started recently, maybe in 4 years, 5 years, became really, really big. And I collected a few of them, but in a way that they try to be as there's a somehow different in them, that they want to make sure that the hanfu is as authentic as possible. But because no one has ever been back to the time, so no one would know how exactly what is the authenticity, except the ones that you can look at that has passed on. And which is really funny, because Cheongsam is also developed from hanfu, from Ming Dynasty, and then merging with the Qing Dynasty, the Manchurian aesthetic, and became Cheongsam because of Westernization. So does it mean that it isn't hanfu? Is hanfu necessarily need to be a robe? So these are the things that I find really interesting in the aesthetic of hanfu, and how it became a trend and a capitalist statement. And so being the moon goddess of that performance, I think it's just really fun to throw in that side of clothing too, because a lot of people thought it was a kimono.
Did you make that hanfu?
Yeah, I made that one too.
Can I ask you to take us to your closet?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Scotty is a designer. Like, you are making clothes for yourself. Yeah.
Well, I'm making for myself, so that it's not actually that well made, but at least no one knew how the construction looks like. So here, these are all the
nice
different. So for example, this one I made in the first lockdown. This is a Qing Dynasty robe.
Yes, I remember this one. Yeah, your photo. Nice. Did you already like making clothes back in Hong Kong?
I actually was the costume designer for my from my high school drama club, and I did like drama of the Qing Dynasty, the last empress of the Qing Dynasty.
Wow.
So it was
that's the inspiration influence.
Yeah, so and now I made a lot of Cheongsam, just like really cute 70s, and this is the hanfu.
Oh, pretty fabric.
Yeah, so holographic.
Yes, exactly.
And it's kind of it gives me that vibe of the how the moon in literatures of China, the moon is always like not just white, but it's also got this sort of greenish to it. And so that's why I chose that fabric.
Yeah. All right. I think we're coming to the end of today's student visit. So if we don't have any other questions, maybe let's end today's talk with Scotty's maybe some sharing of your current or upcoming project.
I'm at the Triennial, the 3年展 of the National Gallery of Victoria, which is coming up next week.
Congratulations.
So I'm gonna do a artist panel and probably some performance for them. And yeah, it's just been happenings, and really I'm gonna take a good break over Christmas.
Yeah.
And if you're ever in Sydney during Christmas, catch me up there. But if you're ever in Melbourne too, let me know.
Yes, yes. And I know like in the video you mentioned your website, but do you mind tapping the chat box?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe follow your work and also follow your news.
Oh, sorry, I sent it to someone privately. Yep, done.
All right, lovely. So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for Scotty. This is super nice. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I
And-
miss you, Hong Kong.
Yeah, we miss you here too. So today's program is recorded and we're going to upload to Parasite's YouTube channel. So please go to our channel to maybe catch up with some of the details if you miss anything from today's program. And yeah, congratulations, Scotty, for the
Thank you.
show, and we'll keep in touch. Yeah, stay safe.
Have me there. Have me at Parasite. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for joining today. Bye bye.